Good evening. Tonight I'm going on a blind date in a casino, and I'd really like to cast a spell. So we're going to experiment with some voodoo. Let's go back to 1971, to one of the first experiments with hoodoo in cinema. So without further ado, just voodoo. Let's check out our special feature tonight, the snake people.
From Siberia, across the Bering Strait, to the tundras of North Canada, to the rich fishing seas of the north.
During many centuries in various parts of the world, various diabolical rites and ceremonies have been practiced in homage to various sinister gods who are believed to have many supernatural powers. These rites are generally known as voodoo, which consists mostly of black magic and the cult of death. The practice of voodoo invokes the supreme god.
See, the facts are that the voodoo religion was created by African slaves brought to Haiti in the 16th century. Forced converts to Christianity, they merged the new religion with their own West African and Caribbean beliefs. And actually, this Baron Samedi they're referring to isn't the supreme god of voodoo, but one of several voodoo spirits. Spooky, inaccurate, but spooky.
I'm sorry to say that was a bit unfair on voodoo, which has a sinister popular image it doesn't deserve. I mean, what's wrong with a little ritual sacrifice once in a while? Even though Snake People isn't exactly a documentary, voodoo's great raw material for some weirdly sexy pulp cinema. Here's some more Snake People.
Now, in case you're wondering what's going on here, and who could blame you if you were, the scene is a remote Caribbean island, where beautiful girls from the island are being transformed into zombies by the wicked Damballa. Mummy? Yeah, I get it. I mean, it's feeble, but I get it. Anywho, to what foul purpose are these girls being zombified? Well, in this case, so that a sweaty, rather disgusting French colonial type can find a playmate. This is just one of many examples of how this movie definitely had sex on the brain. Perverted, needy, desperate, unnatural, and seedy sex. But then that's the best kind, if you ask us, which nobody did. Ugh, sick. Get Necrophiliacs Anonymous on the line. We have an emergency case here. Now, the vertically challenged geezer has a strange part to play in this film. He is instrumental in just about every scene of debauchery or violence, yet he always seems conflicted about it. Ah, yes, the opening credits. And the face in freeze frame is, of course, the great and soon-to-be-late Boris Karloff. A giant of early horror movies, he died just a year after shooting his part in this picture, aged 82. Boris Karloff is best remembered for his portrayal of Frankenstein's monster in the 1931 Frankenstein and its sequels, Bride of Frankenstein and Son of Frankenstein. I guess they just stopped short at a second cousin of Frankenstein, or next-door neighbor of Frankenstein. Tonga Lily, oh yeah, she gets the fox call. Don't worry, you'll see. But first, to this remote Caribbean island comes a certain Captain LaBeche. He's your typical arrogant colonial officer type, determined to put a stop to all this necrophilia business.
What's this, Wilhelm? It's a voodoo funeral, sir.
LaBeche is joined by a pretty temperance crusader and a handsome police lieutenant named Wilhelm, who has a German name but a goofy American accent.
Which is supposed to be protected by magic. And they'll keep a vigil for 3 days and 3 nights, just to be sure.
To be sure of what?
Oh, to be sure that the bodies cannot be raised and made to walk at night, forced to work in the field.
Which I gather doesn't happen too often.
For the most part, Snake People was made in Spanish, then dubbed into English. Spanglish, you might call it, except for the French Commandant LaBeche, who talks Franglish, or Franglais. And Boris Karloff, who, as we'll soon see, sounds every inch the Londoner he was. Anyway, looks like we have a bit of a staring competition going on here. At least I think it's a staring competition. Julissa seems to be off somewhere else most of the time, acting in another movie or something.
What's the matter, mademoiselle? Did he frighten you? Captain, sometimes even I get frightened by these people's eyes.
Captain Labiche, you have a fine young officer here in Lieutenant Wilhelm. And a more peaceful island close by would be very difficult to find. So what brings you here?
Not peace, Herr van Mulder.
The sword, then?
I'm a man of the sword.
Just to contribute something to this fascinating discourse, interesting to note that all of Karloff's scenes for this and 3 other movies bundled together were shot near his home in Los Angeles, with all the other scenes shot later, down Mexico way.
You see, mademoiselle, your uncle suspects I have come to this island to make trouble. This is not correct. Trouble is already here. And I have come to stamp it out. To bring law.
Whose law, Captain? The people of Kirby have had their own for centuries and...
Pagan superstition. Witchcraft. Magic. Ritual mutilation. Human sacrifice. And other practices of a sort. Which cannot be discussed in the presence of a young lady.
Oh, yeah. Hubba-bubba, mademoiselle.
What sort of practices?
Well, the young men and the young women get together and...
We'll help.
Yes, sir.
Soon after, the conversation really starts to heat up.
Captain Labiche, I must warn you that if you insist on interfering with the customs and traditions of these people, it'll be very dangerous, not only for you, but for others.
Kind of a dead giveaway that he's behind all the mischief on the island. But no one seems to pick up on it because they're all too thick.
Leave this forgotten island in peace.
I am the law, Herr van Mulder.
Now, this would be
And
to
the law
Boris
can
Karloff for a lifetime's achievement as an actor. His nickname was the Uncanny. He worked for many years as a bit part player before finally shooting to fame
Good
as
day,
Frankenstein's
Mademoiselle
monster in the original 1930
I hope we meet again
Frankenstein.
under more amusing circumstances.
I bet you say that to all the girls.
I am the law. Oh, Monsieur Labiche. Where do you get the nerve speaking with Boris Karloff like that? Anyway, I have a feeling you'll get what's coming to you, you brutal colonizer, you. You've already met Santanon. You know, the vertically challenged guy with the top hat and the chicken? Well, now I'm going to introduce you to Kalea, the snake dancer played by Mexican actress Yolanda Montez, also known as Tongolele. She's definitely what some might consider a MILF.
Grrr. Cougar alert. That stripe in her hair is kind of a trademark for Tongolele. It's just so wrong that it's right. Like everything else about this chili hot tamale. Born in Spokane, Washington, and of mixed Spanish, Swedish, French, English, and Tahitian descent, Yolan Montes, or Tongolele, started dancing professionally when she was still a teenager. Now, whoever that is under the mask there, one thing's for certain, in a moment or two, they're going to be so busted. She barely says a word in this film, Tongolele, but when she does, it always counts. Scenes of sphincter-tightening terror abound in the 1968 voodoo classic, Snake People. Also known as Island of the Snake People in some territories and in others as Cult of the Dead. We sincerely hope you haven't just finished your dinner. Here's Santanon again. He was considered one of the best Mexican dwarf actors along with Jose Rene Martinez Ruiz, or Tonton. He died in 2002. Anyway, get ready for the chant. Dambala, Dambala. That's the high priest behind all the killings. The sexy snake dancer gets up to more mischief in Snake People, together with her pint-sized accomplice, when she sneaks into the private quarters of Boris Karloff's niece, seen here filming a commercial for cough mixture or something. But what diabolical plans do the dwarf and Tongalele have in store for this innocent girl? Aside from the chicken soup for the soul, that is. It's so educational, this show.
Sleep. Offer your dreams to Damballa.
Now, you may think you know where this is going, but I have to tell you, you probably don't. No matter how much some of you might want it to go there, in which case you should probably take a cold shower immediately after the show, not during the show. Midnight movie lovers, we wouldn't want you to miss out on anything. Now here we go again with her favorite python. Monty, I think he's called. But I kid. Actually, it might just be called Damballa, and that's actually the name of the voodoo serpent god. All of this dancing around with snakes business, of course, has a meaning in voodoo. Apparently, the interaction between dancer and snake symbolizes the unity between our world and the world beyond. So they don't just do it because it looks so cool, in other words.
Offer your dreams to Damballa.
Now, wait a minute. Where is that snake?
Offer your dreams to Damballa.
Yeah, if you didn't hear me the first time.
Whew. These voodoo movies, they sure have a way of stirring up some powerful human emotions. But get a tight grip on those feelings, because we have to take a short break, and I know the suspense is going to be sheer torture. See you after the messages. Welcome back. Tonight we're practicing some voodoo. And as you'll see, wherever there's voodoo, zombies aren't terribly far away. Snake People takes place on a remote Caribbean island where the women are being kidnapped by snake dancer Kalea and turned into zombies. At this point in our story, a beautiful young anti-drink campaigner arrives on the island. Can the dashing lieutenant and French inspector get to her before Kalea does? I certainly hope not.
It's alive! Alive! All right, someone oil those hinges, quick. Is this a cave she's in or more of a grotto? Let's call it a grotto, which is kind of like a cave, only posh, because it sounds more romantic and because of the lightning and the plinky-plonky piano music. It sounds a bit like the love theme from Snake People or something. We're including this sequence because although it is a bit of a red herring, it is certainly one of the most bizarre passages from an already pretty bizarre film. And things are about to get that much more bizarre. See if you can guess. Yeah, if we want to stay on air and Igor, that's me, wants to keep my job, I think we'd best not comment on the snake between her legs and the way she fondles it. Whoa. Is it getting hot in here, or is it just me? Okay, it goes on and on, this scene, but then it is rather far out, which is why we decided to include it. That, and the fact that we're a pack of twisted and depraved creeps in the Midnight Movie Brigade. Anyway, to come back to our original thesis, this whole sequence is something of a red herring, because you know it's only supposed to be a dream. Hands up who figured that out. Well, she did actually say, offer your dreams to Damballa. What other clues did you need? In case anyone really needs reminding, this is why the whole sequence is a red herring or a false scent. It was only a dream. Get those clothes back on, quick, as if nothing ever happened. It's like, we can go now. Our work is done here. And now off they go. Aren't they wonderful, the voodoo Mr. and Mrs. Claus?
Snake People caters to a wide variety of perversions. Necrophilia, anyone? Perhaps with a side of bestiality? With a snake? Remember the sweaty colonial type at the top of the show? The one who goes grave robbing for a girlfriend? He's about to find out what it feels like to feel the wrath of voodoo Grandmaster Boris Karloff and his snake dancing assistant.
When it came to speaking softly but carrying a big stick, Boris Karloff was always a natural. As we've mentioned, he was in his 80s when they shot this picture, and he could still dish out the punishment. Way to go, Boris! Rail on the corpse-kissing sweaty sicko. As physically demanding as this scene must have been, Karloff didn't travel to Mexico.
That, Carl. Not enough that you turned the workers loose on the streets of the town, taking the lives of innocent people.
The police...
I have to say, Karloff looks like a rather handsome Colonel Sanders.
Labiche has gathered a larger force than ever before and armed them with pistols. Now they're going to scour the island at this time of all times when... I hold you responsible for this thing, sir. I'm going to make sure that I can trust you. Galère.
Here she is again, Yolanda Montes, or Tongolele, as the role of Kalea. Who cares so much about names? She is this motion picture's outstanding MILF. That'd be Mexican I'd like to fiesta with, of course.
No. No, don't. Please, don't.
Don't what? What, flutter her cougar eyelashes at you? Oh, I see. It's a tad more serious than a smoldering look. The pervy grave robber's bride is really burning up. Now that this sweaty rascal's dreams of settling down with one of the walking dead and raising a family of zombies have, as it were, been extinguished, he will, of course, be after revenge.
If your information leads to the success of my mission here, I can assure you that my influence in the colonial government will be sufficient to arrange some...
It is tonight.
Tonight? What is tonight?
You know, it's the part of the day that starts when the sun goes down.
There will be a human sacrifice. If you do exactly as I tell you, you will be able to capture the voodoo leaders in an act of murder. Isn't that enough for you, Captain?
Very well. What is your plan?
Same as always, get stinking drunk.
You came to witness a sacrifice? So you shall. And you shall witness the dawn of a new age upon the earth.
New age upon Earth? And I don't think he's talking about Web 2.0. Anyway, as you can see, Captain Labesh's plan hasn't gone too well. He, the girl, and the lieutenant have all been captured by this point. Why is he talking in that strange voice? I suppose it must be the spirit of Baron Samedi speaking through him.
Baron Samedi!
See? Anyway, it's Boris Karloff, of course, under that top hat behind the goggles. This was his ultimate on-screen performance, and he's still giving 110%.
Offer my blood and the blood of my niece, Annabella, to Baron Samedi. So that they can start a new empire on Earth. I'm dying. I die.
As this cave or grotto full of skulls burns on, and Baron Samedi is about to receive the blood sacrifice, look, I think the French captain is about to become French toast. Voluntary self-sacrifice. Yep. That'll do it. Now this is how a midnight movie is supposed to end, with a hasty and somewhat confusing crescendo. But more importantly, with a whole bunch of explosions. That's the way I like to hear it. It's music to my ears, that is. Well, I'm sure you'll all be pleased to know that the lieutenant in the safari suit escapes with the girl and then gets the girl. As yet again, speaking of music, as we were just 10 seconds ago, here's the Plinky Plonky love theme from Snake People swelling up on the soundtrack. How nice for them, I'm sure. And under the hat, goggle, and veil, let's say goodbye to one of the finest actors in midnight movie history, William Henry Pratt, better known as Boris Karloff. We shall not see your like again. Wait just a goddamn minute, though. What happened to Kalea, the saucy minx?
Perhaps we'll never know. But I'll tell you what, she looks like a survivor to me, and it takes one to know one. We're running out of time for this episode, and I promised to show you one of the earliest examples of voodoo on film. There's no better example than the following.
Yes, folks, this is King of the Zombies from 1941, the year America entered World War II, among other things. In its highly plausible and completely believable storyline, an evil Nazi spy, is there any other kind, has taken control of a voodoo cult and captured a U.S. admiral, among others. Now he and his assistant interrogate the prisoners. She might not look like your typical World War II American admiral, but apparently she's channeling the old boy. I think we should nominate this film for fantastic headdresses.
Admiral Wainwright, what were your orders?
What were your orders?
To go.
Get it out now, spit it out. Come on.
Stop! Mamba, you fool! She was just going to talk.
You bungling fool.
Outsiders come in.
There's nothing like a bungling idiot assistant to mess everything up. She was just about to talk. And I'm about to be late for my date. Until next week, Midnight Movie Lovers, remember, offer your dreams to Dambala. Offer your dreams to Dambala. Sleep. Offer your dreams to Dambala.